Spoil the vote, they say. Do we actually live in a democracy, or is it the illusion of a democracy? Well, I would go with the latter. We live in the illusion of a democracy. Now, there is countries out there that's a lot worse, where they have no democracy and nobody to vote for, and there's tyrants running them. And I get that. We have to be thankful to a certain degree. However, as a son of Era, and I'm sure you're watching this, you're either a son or daughter of Era, or maybe not. You're just interested in the political landscape here on this island. You will feel disheartened by where we are today. Now, there's many things to be thankful for, but there's many things to look at here and go, well, the future doesn't seem too bright, especially in regards to the economy, immigration, what they teach children in schools. So, spoil the vote, I totally understand the concept. We're not going to vote for any of these people. This is how we feel. And whoever does vote, 16, 23 or whatever, they'll represent the 16 percentages, the 23 percentages, the 26 percentages of the electorate. And we're not voting because this is an absolute disgrace. What I would say is we definitely need to spearhead a campaign where an individual like myself, yourself, or whoever that has good ideas is able to run the country. Whether it's in Stormont, whether it's in the Dáil, even across the water in England, whether in Parliament, all across Europe, there should be an avenue where an independent that doesn't feel connected to any political organisation can get in and be voted for. The fact that that really isn't a thing, they say it is because they say you can run as an independent, but let's face the facts here. Even as an independent, you need to be favoured by the big parties within that country, whatever country that may be within Europe. But here, so in Ireland, you need to be favoured by them. They need to literally allow you in so then people can vote for you. So it's not really democratic. But there should be another avenue to make it democratic where an individual can just say, look, the people have signed this and they want me to be there so they can vote for me. That's a true democratic society, and we don't have that. So there is the illusion of democracy. They are plucked from the hen house and placed in front of us, and we're told this right-wing person is the correct person to vote for if you're right-wing, and this left-wing person is the correct person if you're left-wing, and so on and so on and so on. But these people are all controlled, and their opposition is controlled. And if you want proof and evidence about that, I have to go to England. Just look at Nigel Farage. I knew Nigel Farage was controlled by somebody, by the establishment, whenever they implemented him onto the TV show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I'll never forget, I was watching it with my wife, and I looked at the TV and I said, is that Nigel Farage on? She said, yep. Who is he? She had no clue who he is. She's not political by any stretch of the imagination. And I said, that guy, he's in politics. He spearheaded the whole Brexit thing. This is interesting. Why would they have him on? The establishment must be gearing something up here. That's how my brain works. If you know, you know. And then Anton Deck made a joke, and they said Nigel Farage got something right. And he says, Nigel's right, but is he far right? And I went to myself, oh, here we go. They are normalising Nigel Farage. It was then a couple of years ago, I think this was even pre-Reform UK, that I realised that the establishment had got a grip of Nigel Farage and they were spearheading a campaign to get him into power. They were trying to siphon all the right-wing votes over to Nigel Farage, so because he was controlled opposition, you see. They are hell-bent on this mass migration, this extinctionist ideology they're teaching the children, this big pharma, digital ID run society. That's why they're confusing you at the minute in regards to Keir Starmer and Nigel Farage. If you look at both of these guys, their policies, they differ a little bit, but not really. There's not much difference between the two people. But in regards to Era here, the beautiful island of Era, we are being absolutely destroyed politically, and you need to know that we do not live in a democratic society. We live in a somewhat democratic society, but if an individual can't be voted for just on the basis that they have good ideas that people agree with, then you know you're not living in a democratic society. Now, in the future, there's going to be a united Ireland. I think this is coming within 5 to 8 years. I myself, I'm an Irish nationalist, so I am for a united Ireland. But one of the things that really, and I'll make a separate video about this, one of my pet peeves in regards to this whole thing is that if you're for a united Ireland, you must be an extreme extinctionist leftist. And that's not me. I would consider myself these days, I used to consider myself centre to left, but more so I would consider myself centre to right these days, especially in regards to the economic policies. We don't want these socialists and communists completely destroying our country. So that's where I stand on things. You don't need to be a far leftist, extinctionist communist to want a united Ireland. And there is many people that I speak to that are Republicans that say we totally agree with you. And we don't know where this whole idea of mass migration has came from. But it was written in the 90s, if you know, you know. So we technically don't live in a full democratic democracy, because if we did, then you or I could not be connected to any of these political organizations, run as a full independent and be voted for accordingly. But we can't, because to get there as an independent, we must pass tests within the solidified 2 to 3 party state. And this is happening all across Europe, all across the world, actually. Even in the United States of America, I think 2016, Donald Trump wanted to run as an independent, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and then joined the Republicans. I think he was a Democrat, and then he joined the Republicans because none of his policies aligned with the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party, you know, these are little buzzwords that they use, the Democrats. They're not democratic by any stretch of the imagination. Shipping in millions of people into the United States of America for votes, that's not democratic. That's called authoritarianism. And that's where we are today, folks. So spoil the vote. Yeah, you can spoil your vote, but you need to understand this. Regardless if your vote is spoiled or not, who they want in power, they will place in power. And you have no say about any of it.